tell me why my tombstone is blank. 'Cause I'm not the one who won't try. I'm not letting life pass me by. And tell me when the days are less gray. And tell me where is the road to less pain.
this Saturday afternoon, and I'm torturing myself talking about Friday Night SmackDown. Friday night, big night. Big night. House of Glory, no turning back, SmackDown. And we got a little glimpse into what the WrestleMania Night 1 main event is going to be, as I had talked about last week. Now, I don't know if that's the direction they're going in, but it certainly feels like we may be headed for a multi-man situation. Adding Randy Orton. And I think that's the best move. We got a shocker in Kiana James advancing to the Elimination Chamber. Charlotte is out. Is WWE setting up Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill at WrestleMania? EO's right there, Paul. EO is right there. And we'll talk a little bit about the House of Glory show last night. Tremendous show from Jamaica Queens, MJF, Zilla, Mason, Andrade. Fantastic show. If you guys missed it, we'll talk a little bit about that. This Saturday afternoon, it's happy hour somewhere. I know I'll be going to happy hour after the stream is over. But when I get to the venue on this Saturday afternoon, I want to know, what the fuck are you guys drinking? I'll see you over there. What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is your Friday Night SmackDown post show for your Saturday, February 21st, 2026. I'm your host, JD, from New York, as always, coming to you live from the OTS venue inside my mother's basement. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on this Saturday afternoon, happy hour, wherever you may be. You know, I get home last night, and I see nothing but fear and dread all over social media. Apparently, we're getting 28 inches of snow if you look at the fear-mongering on social media. I hate New York. I know it's in my YouTube name. I hate the place where I live. I very much want it to be warmer weather, and it's sad because where I reside, yesterday was the first time I legitimately saw my front lawn in about 4 weeks. Today was the first time I could actually open the door and let the dark horse breathe from its dungeon. And now we're getting 28 inches of fucking snow tomorrow. And I can't stand it. I pray to God that somewhere a meteorologist is wrong. Ridiculous. California, Florida. Where am I going? Can't even go to Atlantic City. Apparently they're going to get blasted too. Normally it's a little easier down there. They don't get a lot of snowfall like we get up here, but holy shit. Can't stand the snow. There was also fear and dread on social media last night after the House of Glory show. Apparently, a lot of people didn't like that I was back behind the booth. I had a great time. Happy to be back. I love House of Glory. We had a tremendous show last night, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be back. I had a great time last night sitting next to the one and only Solid Monster and Johnny Torres, who filled in for me for the last 11 months. I thought we did a great job last night, and I want to thank both of them for making the transition back as seamless as possible. And I thought it was a great show, man. MJF, just a consummate professional. You know, when the spotlight's on him, he is better than anybody. And I thought what he did with Zilla Fatu last night was tremendous work. Zilla, I know a lot of people look at Zilla and either A, find him too young to be anywhere so quickly, or at this early stage of his career, 3 years in the game, highly overrated. Zilla's fucking great. And normally I feel like, and I think a lot of us smart fans feel like when we see someone like that gains that type of traction, there's something special about him. And when you hear Zilla speak and when you get Zilla in the ring with someone like MJF, I think the sky's the limit for him. Unbelievable work by those two. Charles Mason defended the House of Glory World Championship against Andrade, who, you know, I love the way Jason puts it. He is in his final form. And I 100% agree with that. This is the best we've ever seen Andrade look. And it's amazing how the difference between legitimately, I would say 9 months. The last time we saw him was at SummerSlam. And he was in that ladder match with Rey Fenix. From there to where we see him now, completely different person. He's unbelievable. Listen, since the black and gold days, Andrade's been fucking tremendous. He's a lot more polished and he's a lot more put together now. But he's always been great. We've always thought he was one of the best pro wrestlers on the planet. I just felt like he needed a mouthpiece and he needed some sort of voice behind what he does in the ring. And that's why Zelina did so great with him. And I love that act. And then Vince tore that act apart. And then he was left all on his own. And I don't really think that helped him at all on the main roster. Because then they get a sense of who he really is. And then they get a vision of him. And then he's cast aside like some fucking piece of garbage. And I hated that because we knew the potential was there. Now he's in AEW. He's probably doing some of the best work of his entire fucking career within the last 6 to 8 weeks. And he's already put together Wrestler of the Year credentials for his return to AEW. And a possible program looming maybe with MJF, hopefully. I'd like to see that. I think that would be a tremendous program. He is in the Don Callis family, and I know we joked that the Don Callis family has like 87 members, but Don Callis is a great talker. Don Callis is a great heat magnet, and I think that's going to work out well for Andrade. So those two matches, I felt like from those two matches being some of the biggest main events that we've ever had back-to-back last night, and then the rest of the card from top to bottom, I thought last night was not only one of our best shows in a very long time, but it also shows you exactly where House of Glory is going. And I couldn't be more excited about the future. The brand, from when I first started 8.5 years ago, to where the brand is now, the Amazing Red and Brian XL have done such a tremendous job. Work that you guys physically don't see going into the product. And it's amazing how far the entire company has come. And when I tell you that bigger and better things are coming and the vision of where they want to be is, I think, something you guys are going to want to be a part of. So I thought it was a great show. And the overwhelming support, whether you dislike me or whether you are firmly planted on this side of the fence, I appreciate all the reaction last night. I got an opportunity to talk to several people yesterday, and we had some great conversations, and I feel like what we did last night was a great step forward, and I'm just very proud of the company. I'm very happy to be back. I owe a lot to Brian XL, a lot to Amazing Red, and I'm just very fortunate that I have a lot of good people in my corner. So no matter the noise, no matter the hatred, no matter these people watching or not watching and saying all these nasty things about me, I really don't care. You know, I got in the ring last night. I didn't really want to, but I did it anyway. And the reaction that we got, man, that made me smile, because a lot of the people that I watch and I am a huge fan of, I live for those reactions, man. I think that's fucking great. You know, I was like transported when I heard "shut the fuck up" chants. I mean, that is nothing compared to the shit that I get on a weekly basis on social media. I've had a lot worse said about me, but you got to understand, at the end of the day, why are people chanting "shut the fuck up" at me? None of these people know who I am. Legitimately, none of these people know what happened behind the scenes yesterday, or who I spoke to, who I didn't speak to. So you're basing it all on what we do here. And what is so terrible about what we do here? We talk about pro wrestling. We love pro wrestling. It's always been about the pro wrestling. It's always been about wanting better pro wrestling. Do we get a little carried away sometimes? Sure, it's YouTube. I got to entertain. It's either me or the next boring fucking content creator out there that's sitting in their bedroom in front of a $20 microphone who's, you know, not really doing anything innovative. We're not really doing anything to make a splash or a wave or get better, man. Listen, I told you this was going to be the year, and we are off to the races. So I loved it. Great to be back. I owe a lot to Brian XL and Amazing Red. They did a fantastic job. Very happy to have them in my corner. And we're going to kick ass this year. We're going to kick ass. And commentary on House of Glory, man, it's going right back to me and Jason and my guy, Dr. Hillary P. Wisdom. Should be great. Very much looking forward to it. I'll see you guys in Chicago for March 6th. So that's our next show. Don't know what the card's looking like, but we find it out, and we'll update you guys right here. SmackDown. The reason why I wasn't live last night is because I was at House of Glory, and the reason why we're doing SmackDown tonight. I know we're not going to be expecting a huge audience here. Fridays are usually never a big audience for SmackDown, because I think a lot of people have seen the consistency of the show and they're not on board. The show is weak. It's 3 hours of a lot of fluff, and in that 3 hours, you may cherry pick a little something here and a little something there that you like. Last night was more of the same. A 3-hour show that, in my honest opinion, wasn't terrible. It was a lot better than the last couple of weeks that we've gotten, where it was just straight up boring. Last night, we got a couple of Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. We got one shock outcome in the Women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match. The men's, not so much. I think everybody anticipated Trick Williams advancing to the Elimination Chamber. I don't think people who watched the show last night expected Charlotte Flair to get eliminated from title contention going into WrestleMania. I thought everybody expected Charlotte Flair to win the Women's Elimination Chamber match last night. Instead, they gave that to Kiana James. And I think Kiana James has done a very good job on the main roster. She brings a sense of legitimacy because she wrestles like a wrestler. She moves like a wrestler. She takes a bump like a wrestler, where most of these women, you know, they're not very good and they don't like to bump, and it just looks sloppy as shit. And I know a lot of people are high on several other wrestlers on the roster, and I think a lot of people are overlooking how good Kiana James actually can be. The potential is there. You see it in the way she moves. You see it in the way she operates. The potential is there. So just like Javon Evans in the men's Elimination Chamber, they gave it to Kiana James for the women. Everybody wants WWE to start getting behind the future, but when WWE gets behind the future and leaves out Charlotte Flair in favor of Kiana James, people want to complain. They don't know what they want. So you want WWE to build for the future, but then you complain about WWE going with Kiana James in the Women's Elimination Chamber. I have no problem with that. Now, we'll talk about what the match could potentially end up being at WrestleMania. I'm not really excited for the direction of the WWE Women's Championship. It's either one or the other, and I'm not excited about either one of those. I thought Charlotte would have been the right choice for Jade Cargill and then play along with the aspect of Alexa Bliss possibly turning heel on Charlotte Flair. So we'll talk about where we are going with that a little bit later in this show tonight. Trick Williams, he's advanced, and I said I don't think anybody found that to be a surprise. The big story, though, coming out of SmackDown is what I talked about last Friday. And I reiterated this again because we went into a deep dive discussion with Solid Monster on Tuesday Night Titans. I mentioned this again to him on Tuesday. Randy Orton. He's the big X factor going into WrestleMania. A lot of people are trying to figure out where we're going in certain aspects going into WrestleMania. What is Randy Orton doing at WrestleMania? Now, a lot of people thought that with this Aleister Black narrative that they're playing out on television, that Aleister Black and Randy Orton would be a WrestleMania match because Black has been saying these things about Randy Orton, and we got a little bit of a promo last week from Aleister Black, and we got a promo and a match this week. And I think after the outcome of the match in the main event on SmackDown last night, I am sold on the aspect that I pitched to you guys last Friday. And I don't think Randy Orton and Aleister Black is happening at WrestleMania, and I'm glad it's hopefully moving away from that direction. Not that I don't like the work of both guys. I think Randy Orton's fantastic, and Aleister Black, I feel like he should be better off, a little bit better off than where he is on SmackDown right now. I think he should be a little bit higher. I would hope that WWE takes him to be a little bit more serious. I think he's a major player just waiting in the wings if they really want to get behind him creatively. I don't find that to be a WrestleMania match. There's nothing wrong with them at Mania, but you got to do a lot of work to make me believe Aleister Black should be in the ring with a Randy Orton and give me a proper story that I actually care about and that I could invest in. But that's not the WrestleMania match to me. The WrestleMania match, I think, really kind of opened that door a little bit more last night. And it goes back to what I said Friday. Drew McIntyre is going to be the one who determines where he goes going into WrestleMania. He holds the keys to the kingdom. And every action that Drew McIntyre shows you on Friday night is making it worse and worse and worse for him going into WrestleMania. Not only did he already get involved with Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu, not only has he attacked them on multiple occasions, trying to take them out so that they don't have a factor in what he does with the WWE Championship. Not only did he try to give Sami Zayn a win over Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes, not only did he stop Randy Orton from beating Aleister Black last night, he holds the keys to his kingdom. And going into WrestleMania, all of Drew McIntyre's actions will have consequences. Which brings us to the Elimination Chamber. Randy Orton, LA Knight, and Cody Rhodes serve as the only three guys in that Elimination Chamber that have a viable chance of winning the Elimination Chamber. It's great to see a Javon Evans in there. It's great to see a Trick Williams in there. That goes to the narrative of WWE getting behind their future. But those three guys, the veterans, are the only logical choices to win. Cody being the odds-on favorite, Randy Orton being not that far behind him, and LA Knight being a dark horse, but never really going to win it. And what I said last Friday, chat, Randy Orton needs to win the Elimination Chamber. WWE wants to throw a wrench into the gears of the predictable aspect of their television program. How do we do that? WWE could easily give the Elimination Chamber to Cody Rhodes, and then all roads, pun intended, leads to Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes one-on-one is not good enough for WrestleMania, no matter how good both guys are. I don't want to see something main event WrestleMania in the same fashion we've seen it 7 times before. This main evented WrestlePalooza, and we're still dealing with the dilemma of Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre going into WrestleMania. The one thing you cannot do is give me the same main event we saw in September, and we've seen it 6 times since then. No. Jacob Fatu, another guy that fits into the narrative of WWE building their future. Obviously, he's going to be a major player. Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. As a one-on-one match, it's something fresh. For WrestleMania, I wouldn't mind it. But is it WrestleMania-esque? One-on-one? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we need to do a little bit more. So what did I say last week? Randy Orton wins the Elimination Chamber. Randy Orton wins the Elimination Chamber, and he's tasked with this. He's tasked with this situation because Drew McIntyre, he's got his eyes on Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes. Jacob Fatu last night mentioned he's got his eyes on Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton's just collateral damage. But Drew McIntyre basically is giving you his answer. I don't want to wrestle Jacob Fatu or Cody Rhodes, or worse, both of them at the same time. So what is he going to do? LA Knight's on Raw. He's not winning the Elimination Chamber. It's either Cody or Randy. They're on SmackDown. Randy Orton is going to be collateral damage. He's got to take the lesser of two evils here. He's had history with Randy Orton in the past, but he doesn't want to wrestle Cody Rhodes because he already made a promise that Cody Rhodes is never getting the WWE title back and he's never going to get to WrestleMania again. So McIntyre is not defending the WWE title at the Elimination Chamber, which, in my opinion, is going to make way for him getting involved in that match. And I know WWE loves the Elimination Chamber situation where someone gets eliminated and the door remains open and McIntyre's going to find himself in the cage because he's going to force his way into the cage and he's going to claim more Cody Rhodes. And Randy Orton is not going to take the route that Sami Zayn took. Randy Orton is very much going to take advantage of the situation, and Randy Orton is going to beat Cody Rhodes and go to WrestleMania. And on paper, it's going to be Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. But it's not going to end up being that. Because what did I say before? Drew McIntyre's actions are going to have consequences. Time and time and time and time again, he's pushed Nick Aldis's buttons. You don't think Nick Aldis is keeping a line sheet of every time Drew McIntyre has done Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu wrong? He's going to add Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes to the match because Drew McIntyre has been begging him to without actually begging him to. And we're going to be looking at a fatal four-way. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Jacob Fatu for the WWE Championship will main event night 1 of WrestleMania. Then what do you do there? What do you do there? You could give the title back to Cody. Or you can have Cody continue to chase. I think taking the title off of Cody January 9 and putting on, this WrestleMania main event with him winning it April 19th or April 18th, whenever WrestleMania is, I think that's a little bit too soon. So what I'm doing is having Randy Orton win the WWE Championship. You preserve Cody Rhodes as the babyface champion chasing the heel, and I turn Randy Orton heel. That's what I do. Now, in a perfect world, I'd love for Cody to go heel, but I don't think WWE's ready for that discussion. That's what I'd love to see. I don't think we're there yet. I think Randy Orton is going to be factored into the WrestleMania main event. I don't want to jump the gun and predict who's going to win the WWE Championship yet, being that there's 2 months still left to go. But I think we're looking at a fatal four-way, and I genuinely feel that's the right direction to go in. A one-on-one match is not going to work. Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu, again, different, but I feel like there's something missing even with the aspect of that match. Randy Orton is the guy that's going to piece this puzzle together, and I think that's going to solidify the night 1 main event. We're going to talk about the rest of this show. We had qualifying matches, we had Femi and Kit Wilson, and we had a fantastic Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn backstage segment, which basically kickstarted Sami's story, and he's going to want to finish his story over the next 12 months. So we'll get into it tonight, or this afternoon, rather. This is your SmackDown post-show for last night's SmackDown. It is your Saturday, February 21st, 2026. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, I'm not really expecting, well, actually, you know what? We almost got 1,500 people in here. I didn't expect that. That's par for the course on Friday night, being how the show has been so terrible. But I thank you guys very much for all of your support. Again, I thank you guys for backing me on social media the last 24 hours, man. It's happy to see that I got some great people on my side. I am very fortunate, and I'm very lucky and very proud, very happy that we are putting the past behind us and moving forward, man. Thank you guys very much for that. And I promise not to let you guys down. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. Make sure you guys go and check out all the great content on the channel. Monday night, we were live for the Raw Post Show. Tuesday night, Titans, nearing 40,000 views. That's pretty much the norm on Tuesday nights. Killing it with the Solid Monster. Wednesday, Jesse and I were live for what I thought was probably the best Dynamite in a while. And I love that ending angle. We got Swerve Strickland, Kenny Omega, and things cannot be any hotter, at least for the main event scene. Still up in the air with the rest of the show, but the main event scene, MJF leading the charge, Swerve, Omega, Ospreay's not back yet, but hopefully coming back. Hangman. World title picture's looking pretty fucking good right now. So hopefully they can keep that up, and they need to really focus on making that special. Because with MJF as the top guy there and all these baby faces chasing, I think that's the right recipe for success there. So go check that out. We also uploaded a Chris Jericho being iced by Tony Khan video. Not sure if you guys heard this news, but Jericho's contract was frozen, reportedly, by Tony Khan, and that is why he is not coming back to WWE at this present time and will not be the one that hops out of this mystery crate, which is due to open in 7 days at the Elimination Chamber. I don't like it, but again, par for the course for Mr. Tony Khan. So go and check that out. Some good stuff there. And we're live this afternoon. And again, I'll be live on Monday. We got a big Monday Night Raw coming up, the go-home show before the Elimination Chamber. Leave a comment down below and super chats. Best way to support what I do here on the podcast is via the super chats. Get them on in. We'll hang out at the end of the show. And any questions, comments, concerns, opinions, thoughts, jokes, whatever you guys may have, sound off in the super chats. They are open, and we'll read them out at the end of the show. And also, we're sponsored tonight by Blue Chew. Blue Chew Gold. Make sure you guys use that code JD at checkout. Blue Chew Gold, code JD at checkout. 10% off your order at BlueChew.com. JB Comrade in the chat says Eva Marie is in the box, JD. No, I hope not. As Solid Monster gets cold chills with Brie mode, I have the same reaction to Eva Marie. No, thank you. Nobody asked for that. At all. SmackDown. Start things off at the top. We got Cody Rhodes opening the show and quickly interrupted by Jacob Fatu. Cody made his way out to the ring. And he asked the fans what they want to talk about as he's looking up at the WrestleMania 42 sign in the arena. And before he could go any further, Jacob Fatu, he walks out to the ring with a purpose, with a microphone. Fatu opened his promo, got in Cody's face, and said, "Let's keep it 100. He said Cody wouldn't even be out here talking about the Elimination Chamber if it weren't for Drew. Fatu believes he should be in the Elimination Chamber and not Cody. He said he had both Cody and Sami beat last week. He says his concern isn't with Cody right now. He said his concern is about Drew McIntyre. So before Jacob Fatu could go any further, Nick Aldis came out Aldis said Fatu has every right to be upset after what happened last week, but he anticipated this, so he gave Drew the night off so that there would not be any more issues. He says he doesn't like to leave the champion off of his show, but he felt it was best for this current situation. He asked Fatu to let Cody continue to speak, and he invited Fatu to speak to him in his office. Drew was in the building and did not have the night off. He was very much in the building, and he interrupted all three guys from a luxury box. Drew says they just can't leave his name out of their mouths. He says he appreciated the night off, but he's the champion, and he does what he wants. He says he loves SmackDown so much that he bought himself an entire suite to watch Friday Night SmackDown tonight. He said he heard Fatu running his mouth. All gas, no brakes. More like all bark, no bite. Now, like I understand where they were going with that, but it doesn't need to sound like a second grader wrote the promo. Just saying. I think McIntyre is capable of a little bit more than that. Fatu snapped. He charged to ringside and wanted to hop the barricade. Security was there, immediately trying to stop him. He threw some of these geeks around, and Nick Aldis ran right down to ringside, and he pleaded with Jacob Fatu to just listen. Listen. He asked him if he wants to get suspended. Aldis says they're going to take Drew out of the arena, and then he still wanted to talk with him if he was willing to go to his office. Fatu told Aldis, I need him, and I need that. Aldis sounded very sympathetic. He sounded like he understood. Pay attention to the sympathetic nature from Nick Aldis to Jacob Fatu. Aldis is keeping a track record of everything that's going on. Fatu right now is suffering from Drew McIntyre's actions. Nick Aldis is registering that. Cody will now feel the instance of Drew McIntyre fucking him over going into the WrestleMania build after the Elimination Chamber. And then both will be sympathetic from Nick Aldis. They both will garner that sympathy from Nick Aldis. Randy Orton will win the chamber. So when you have two guys in Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes who are getting the sympathetic narrative from Nick Aldis, and Randy Orton's already qualified in the means in which he needs to qualify for WrestleMania by winning the Elimination Chamber, this is where you put all the ingredients into that big pot on the stovetop where your mother's making Sunday pasta sauce. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of parsley, oregano. You're good to go. That's exactly what Nick Aldis is brewing up here. Fatal 4-Way coming at WrestleMania. That is my prediction. I would be shocked if WWE doesn't include Randy Orton in this dilemma with Randy Orton, McIntyre, Cody, and Jacob Fatu resulting in a Fatal 4-Way. Drew, he said the whole damn world is against him because he is the champion. He said everyone is jealous and everyone wants to beat him because he is the champion. Cody then told Drew the whole world is after him, not because he's the champion, but because he's an asshole. I don't know if Drew's an asshole. Sometimes we like the asshole. Drew McIntyre is walking into WrestleMania as the WWE champion. So Nick Aldis was backstage with Jacob Fatu, and this was a great follow-up because it really just showed you and really made the narrative of how they got here, how long it took them to get here. And I really like that they pushed that. And it also adds another layer to the sympathy that Nick Aldis feels for Jacob Fatu. Aldis stopped Fatu in the back, and he asked Jacob Fatu how long he waited to get to WWE. And Fatu, obviously angry, Nick Aldis said, how long did it take you? How long did it take me? We're both in the same position here. It took us forever to get here, but we're here. I don't want you to ruin that. I don't want you to throw that away. He needs him to wait. Nick Aldis needs him to wait. Wait for what? He needs Jacob Fatu to wait because Drew McIntyre is going to make another mental error. And McIntyre is going to be sniped by Nick Aldis. Like you playing Call of Duty and you got some fucking geek sitting in the back of the map, hard scoping a sniper rifle, and you're over there collecting tags on kill confirmed, and you're one off a kill streak, and then you get popped. It's exactly what he's waiting for. Fatal four-way. Fatu says he's not going anywhere. He's not going to wait much longer. He then left the arena, and he went into the parking lot. Great. This is what they need to do. Build layers, tell some stories, give me a reason to care about why everything's happening. And I think WWE is doing a very good job, at least with the main event scene here on Friday night, building those layers and making us care and taking us on a road, on a journey for the WrestleMania Night 1 main event. Ilja Dragunov. He's backstage with Carmelo Hayes. He told Hayes not to miss tonight. He was very intense. He laughed. And he said he might have been too intense here. Hayes says he doesn't need him telling him how to be and how to be him. But he says he should direct that enthusiasm to his match. Dragunov calmed down. He said he believes in Hayes. He says that he, not Hayes, will walk into WrestleMania as the United States champion. I don't know what we're doing with the United States Championship. I wouldn't be surprised if WWE sets up a multi-man match for the United States Championship. A ladder match, maybe. I am more invested in a one-on-one match where there's just a story and then a babyface opposing a story and a heel. That's what I'm interested in. One-on-one. There's nothing greater than a true one-on-one title program with a story that we can actually get invested in. When you start adding this guy and that guy and this guy who don't deserve it and this guy who's been sitting around not doing much of anything, you start graying the areas of why it's important. It should feel important. Ilja Dragunov is one of the few guys on this roster that's been lobbying for a United States Championship match. Maybe we get Carmelo Hayes versus Ilja Dragunov for the United States Championship at WrestleMania. I don't give a fuck who the United States Championship is defended against. I just want to see Carmelo Hayes get what he deserves and get that United States Championship on the WrestleMania card and not the Friday before WrestleMania. We don't need that alongside the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. The guy's had some banger matches this year, and he's also putting together quietly some Wrestler of the Year credentials. You don't leave someone like that off the WrestleMania card, especially with the United States Championship being a primary focus on Friday night for the last 6 or 7 months. Every week's been a fucking open challenge, minus a week here or a week there. You don't leave that off the WrestleMania card. Now, I would love a one-on-one match with Trick Williams. I don't think we're going there. By what we're seeing, I don't think we're going there. I love to see it just based off their history. I love to see it because it would mean Trick Williams as a heel ends the open challenge, and a heel's not going to continue the open challenge because that's not what heels do. And I think that would be a great WrestleMania match for the United States Championship. But it looks like Trick Williams is not going after the United States Championship, and Creative's got something bigger in mind for Trick Williams. So we could be looking at Carmelo Hayes, Dragunov, Nakamura, Tama Tonga, Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona, Apollo Crews. We could be looking at a conglomeration of talents in a ladder match for the United States Championship, which I know the fans will like because everybody's a sucker for a fucking multi-man ladder match. But how many times have we seen that? That's basically getting everybody on the card because you don't want to leave anybody out, and you're doing it because nobody else really factors into anything WrestleMania related. It's kind of lazy. I've always been of the mindset that WrestleMania, even though it's 2 nights, should be reserved for what's most important, and not because you have 2 nights, let's get everybody on the card. No. That's why I was such a big fan of the way Triple H handled NXT TakeOver when Black and Gold was around. 5 matches tops. It was a prize that you worked towards, and not everybody was able to earn it. And only the best of the best went to TakeOver. Maybe my mentality is a little bit different, but it looks like we're going towards a ladder match here for the United States Championship. With that said, Dragunov and Tama Tonga, two guys I do see in the United States Championship title picture. You know, the MFTs are largely awful television. There is such an absolute fucking terrible vortex with the Wyatt Six and the MFTs. It is some of the worst television that you will find anywhere in professional wrestling. Nobody cares about it. It's fucking lame. And the entire premise of the storyline isn't even the tag team championships because there's no fucking division outside the MFTs and the Wyatt Six. It's all about the Lantern. I don't know why the Lantern is so vital to Solo Sikoa. Does he sleep with it on? Is he afraid of the fucking dark when he goes to sleep? Does he use it to find his way to the fucking refrigerator at midnight to go get himself a midnight snack? Does he find it helpful when he gets up from a nice sleep to go slumber into the restroom? Like, I don't understand it. The fucking Lantern. It's all about the Lantern. And it's not good television. But there's a sub-story here happening with Tama Tonga. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know, Jeff Cobb, JC Mateo, Jeff Cobb is fucking fantastic. As a worker, he's fantastic. But creative hasn't done him any favors, and he's settled into being nothing more than like number 4 or number 3 in the MFTs. Tala Tonga is going to stand out because he's fucking big. And then you got Tama Tonga, who is in this little sub-story, and then Solo, and then Jeff Cobb, and then Tonga Loa. Nobody cares about Tonga Loa. Tama Tonga, in my opinion, if they were going to break one guy away who's got the look, the vibe, the promo, the intensity, I think it's Tama Tonga. To break him away from the MFTs and have him go solo, I think that would be a good move. Because none of this is working. They're all drowning together. And if you have any desire to build any one of these guys up and give SmackDown another good piece, another good talent for whatever you may want to use them for, then I think Tama Tonga is the right guy to break away from the MFTs and have him go single. I think he fits all the boxes or checks all the boxes, fits the criteria. So I like what they're doing here. And he's gotten some notable wins. He wins over Dragunov on Friday night. He pinned Carmelo Hayes in that big 10-man tag last week, which don't you think they're going to come back to that? Of course they are. He's eventually going to get a United States Championship. I don't know what happens there, but I don't really foresee Tama Tonga pinning Carmelo Hayes for the United States Championship. The MFTs may get involved, and he may blame them for why he's not the United States Championship, and that may cause a ripple effect and cause a split happening between Tama Tonga and the MFTs. But I like this little sub-story that they're telling, and it got a little bit more advanced. They advanced it a little bit more later in the show when they had a little interaction with Tama Tonga and Shinsuke Nakamura in the locker room. So Dragunov and Tama Tonga here took place, and this was obviously for positioning in the United States Championship title picture. We'll pick it up after the commercial break. Tama Tonga was in control. There was a spot where I seen some people complaining online about Dragunov and the chops. Go back to the Royal Rumble. And how Dragunov just viciously chopped Brock Lesnar, and then Lesnar dumped him out like he was fucking Monday morning's garbage. I didn't like that. Number one, I didn't like it. One of the things I was very critical of the Royal Rumble, one of the things about the Royal Rumble I was most critical about, besides it being an awful show, the match itself and that spot really stuck out to me. You don't do that to a guy like Dragunov. You can do that to a guy like Tozawa, who wants to chop Brock Lesnar, and it's nothing more than fucking pesky gnats on the 4th of July disrupting your barbecue. You don't do that to a guy like Dragunov. So what does WWE do from that moment? Because they know everybody complained about that. They take that spot, and now they're doing it week by week the last few weeks. Dragunov is chopping Tama Tonga here, and it's fucking not even like a chop. It's multiple, hard, knife-edge chops, rapid-fire fashion. And Tama Tonga, he's like fucking the Matrix. He's like Neo in the Matrix, just dodging bullets. This guy takes like 6 or 7 fucking chops from Dragunov, and he just walks right through them. Why are we dumbing down Dragunov's offense, who in absolutely no way, shape, or form has shown any weakness in what he does in the ring? He doesn't do campy comedy. He doesn't do anything lacking. He's not weak. He's never been presented as weak. He's always been presented as this fucking, this hard-nosed Russian who's just absolutely fucking psychotic and ballistic. And he goes in there and he wrestles like a fucking madman. He's the Mad Dragon. Yet you got this guy rapid-firing chops on Tama Tonga, of all people. Tama Tonga's not a small guy, but when you do something like that, you're only dumbing down his move or his offense. Like, I get it with Lesnar. Should have been done, but nobody is Brock Lesnar. So what they did last night, in my opinion, is make Tama Tonga on par with Brock Lesnar. Under no circumstances is that okay. Now, do they want to build up Tama Tonga as something more in the eyes of the fans? Maybe. But I don't really understand why dumbing down Dragunov's offense is something that we need to see. Yet I'm supposed to watch Monday Night Raw, and when Jey Uso delivers one fucking half-ass spear that doesn't even look like a spear, looks like he's spearing his fucking son in a pillow fight. I'm supposed to believe Jey Uso spearing somebody is more than enough to win a pro wrestling match, but Tama Tonga just walks right through Ilja Dragunov's 9, 10, 11, 12 rapid-fire chops. You fucking kidding me? Give me a fucking break. Let's do a little bit better there. Feel like they're doing it more as a ha-ha, and it's not really making Dragunov look good. So we come back from the break. Tama Tonga is in control. He taunted Dragunov. He was met with some strikes. Back and forth they go with some blows. Double down. Dragunov and Tama Tonga took each other out with a double clothesline. Both men got themselves back up. They continued to throw strikes at each other. Tama Tonga attempted a reverse DDT, and that was turned into a German suplex by Dragunov. So he's got a grip around Tama Tonga's waist, does Dragunov, and he managed to hit 2 suplexes until Tama Tonga escaped. Tama Tonga could not escape Dragunov's Constantine special, which he nailed, and he went for a near fall, only got a 2 count out of it. Dragunov headed up top. Tama recovered, got him in a flatliner. He goes for recovery, gets a 2 count. Tama Tonga then lifted Dragunov up. He had him in a underhook, and then he was counted into a big-time throw by Dragunov. He then headed up top, and he had Tama Tonga in his sights for his big senton. Dragunov had Tama dead to rights for the H-bomb. JC Mateo jumped on the apron and tried to distract. So we got a roll-up from Tama Tonga, which failed. Tonga Loa, he gets on the apron, and he causes the distraction, which allowed Tama Tonga to hit the hidden blade, or what he calls the cutthroat, on Dragunov, and he pins Ilja Dragunov. 1, 2, 3. He didn't get it clean, and he had help from the MFTs, but a win over Ilja Dragunov puts him squarely in position for a United States Championship match. When and where, I don't know. So we are definitely headed towards that one-on-one match sooner rather than later. After the match, Solo Sikoa addressed the crowd on the microphone and said this was going to happen as this was the MFT's show. Dragunov jumped Sikoa, and it was a 5-on-1 here. He's the Mad Dragon for a reason. So he jumped the MFTs by jumping on Solo, 5-on-1. Matt Cardona tries to come make the save. He gets tossed into the barricade. Paulo Cruz came out. He got destroyed by Tonga. The MFTs, they wanted to continue beating up the baby faces from catering. And then we get the lights going out, and the Wyatt Six show up on the big screen with a promo from Uncle Howdy. He addressed Solo Sikoa in the video and said that it was time for everyone to see if Solo could stand in the ring alone. The next time Howdy stood in the ring, he was going to stand alone. It was time to see if Solo was man enough to do the same. Nobody cares. The whole vibe of the Wyatt Six is not entertaining at all. MFTs are not entertaining at all. You made this entire feud about something I don't think any of the audience genuinely cares about. WWE has done a poor job of giving us a reason why the fucking lantern was so important to Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six to begin with. Now I'm supposed to care about the fucking lantern being stolen in the possession of Solo Sikoa, and now Uncle Howdy wanting to get the lantern back for the Wyatt Six. Is it about the lantern or the tag team championships? If WWE put as much effort into this fucking lantern as they would the tag team championships, maybe we'd actually be progressing the tag team titles to be a little bit more important, and maybe the tag team division to be a little bit more important. Whereas there is no division, and everybody's just watching Johnny Gargano in the back lay on a fucking crate. That's the tag team division. You got Fraxium and the Motor City Machine Guns looking up at Johnny Gargano or looking at him on a fucking NXT crate. Yet we got the tag team division dying because they don't give a shit. Just weird behavior, man. Weird creative. I don't know. Nick Aldis. He was backstage with Drew McIntyre. He blasted Drew McIntyre for his recent behavior, and he's made things difficult on Nick Aldis, he says. He threatened McIntyre, if you keep pushing me, he basically said in oh so many words, continue to fuck around, and you will find out. Again, layers. Adding to what's going to happen when Randy Orton eventually wins the Elimination Chamber because Drew McIntyre can't help himself. Randy Orton, speaking of which, he was interviewed by Byron Saxton. He was interviewed about being in the Elimination Chamber when Aleister Black and Zelina Vega confronted him. These two have been cutting these cryptic promos on Randy Orton. So Byron asked about the competition he'll be facing in the chamber. Orton said everyone is on edge. He was about to speak about being in the ring with Cody. In walked Zelina. She laughed and said it's almost as if they predicted him and Cody going to battle. She said there's only one road. Aleister Black walked in and said at one time the locker room feared nothing more than an RKO. But now he's asking what happened to Randy Orton. Orton says, I know what you're trying to do. And the only Randy Orton that you need to be focused on is the one standing in front of you because that's the one that's going to RKO you. Orton challenged him to a match in the main event. And Black said, you might think it's buried, but consider me the shovel that will dig it back up. What exactly does Black mean? Has anybody thought about what Aleister Black said here? You might think it's buried. What's buried? But consider me the shovel that will dig it back up. So when people say that Aleister Black has basically donned the gimmick of Karrion Kross, now that WWE didn't bring back Kross and Scarlett, they are not far off. Aleister Black is speaking in these cryptic tones with these cryptic messages. And what I decipher here is that he believes Randy Orton is not operating in his most genuine nature. I think he's talking about Randy Orton wanting, well, not Randy not wanting it, but Randy Orton basically taking everybody for a fool. Randy Orton playing this nice guy character, wanting to do what's right and walk the right path, but he feels like the real Randy Orton hasn't shown himself yet. And the real Randy Orton's being hidden away by this fake that we see on the current Randy Orton. What does he want to dig back up? He wants to dig up the Viper. He wants to dig back up the legend killer. And I think Randy Orton is eventually going to succumb to all of what Aleister Black is saying here. And I think Aleister Black is basically giving us little droplets. He's giving us little breadcrumbs because that heel turn is coming. We don't know when, We don't know how, but Aleister Black is teasing a Randy Orton heel turn soon. And I love that. But I just find it ridiculous how WWE wouldn't bring back Karrion, Kross, and Scarlett, who I thought played this gimmick incredibly well, and said, you know what? We're going to cut budget, let them go, and just give what they were doing to Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. Byron Saxton interviewed Nia Jax and Lash legend. Jax said she'll win tonight in her qualifying match, and then next week, Lash and her will win the tag team titles from Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Jade Cargill, she made her way out to the ring, right back to not defending the title. Get ready for another 100 days without a title defense. You know, we got 2 months till WrestleMania. We'll at least get to 60. Jade Cargill made her way out. And apparently, she said, Liv Morgan is going to make a decision on Monday Night Raw on who she's wrestling at WrestleMania. It's either going to be Stephanie Vaquer, or Jade Cargill. Here's the spoiler, folks. Liv Morgan's not choosing Jade Cargill. She could. She could. I genuinely think that there is a slight possibility. I don't think that's the way we're going to go, though. WWE has kind of teased you here, teased you there. But, chat, what was the match that people, dating back to fourth quarter last year, what was the match that people were predicting would be the WrestleMania Women's Championship match before anything got going? Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Vaquer. Now, it would be weird for WWE to play these stories out and have Stephanie go out on Monday Night Raw on a live sit-down with Michael Cole and make Liv Morgan cry in her promo. It would be weird to do all that and just kind of flip the script and do Rhea Ripley winning the Elimination Chamber and challenging Stephanie Vaquer, because that's what we all predicted back late last year. That's the biggest WrestleMania match I think you could do. I think that's the best WrestleMania match you could do out of everything that is possible. With everything that's in front of you, that's the best match to do. We'll talk about the women's elimination match in a second. But Jade said she's going to Monday night to be in attendance as Liv makes her decision. Now, again, there is a slight chance that Liv Morgan chooses Jade Cargill. Rhea Ripley wins the Elimination Chamber and she's tasked with wrestling Stephanie Vaquer. Could be. That would wipe away weeks of television and be kind of weird that WWE gave us these weeks of television only to go back and do nothing in regards to it. Just throwing that out there. She'll be on Raw Monday. Jade said she defends her title on her time. That's a way to basically say, we got nothing for you. She said, whoever comes out of the chamber, be it Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, Io Sky, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, Rhea Ripley. She was very deliberate with the way she said these names. She gave enough time in between each names for the crowd to react, because they weren't reacting to anything else she said. At the end of the day, she'll leave WrestleMania as the champ because I am still that bitch. Great. Does Jade suck or does Jade suck? Zero interest and zero emotional investment in anything the woman does. Not a fan. She made her way out to the stage, and at that same time, Charlotte's music played, and she walked by Jade Cargill. They had this little pause. Charlotte eyed the title. She then looked at Jade's face, and then kept walking. Jade got in her face. Charlotte let out a big woo. Referee ran out, who was refereeing this match, and separated them. Charlotte continued to head to the ring. Another subtle tease that Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair may be a potential program for some point this year. Charlotte, Nia, and Kiana James. This was the Women's Elimination Chamber qualifier. This was not bad. I'll give you one guess as to what brought this match down. I'll give you 3 letters. Can anybody spell it out? N-I-A. Nia. She's what brought the match down. So we'll pick it up after the commercial break. Kiana and Charlotte were going at it. Flair headed up top, connected on a diving crossbody on Kiana James, and then she chopped away at both Kiana and Nia. Flair hit her signature somersault clothesline on Kiana, and then focused on Nia. She ended up on the apron. James super kicked Flair, ended up on Nia's shoulders. Flair connected with a kick and knocked both ladies down. Flair goes up to the top rope. Both Nia and Kiana are laying side to side. Charlotte goes off the top with her moonsault and only gets a 2 count on both of them. She pinned both of them. Only a 2. Flair is feeling it, feeding off the crowd. She reversed an attempted powerbomb by Nia into a Hurricane Rana. Jax recovered, hits a very sloppy-looking Samoan drop on Charlotte Flair, dropping her right on her hip. James got herself back up, and she, again, did the same spot that she did in the Royal Rumble by lifting Nia Jax on her shoulders with a power-up Samoan drop. Excellent stuff. And again, Kiana needs to be on everyone's radar. Telling you right now. She's very, very impressive. James headed up top. Jax rolled out of the ring. Flair got back up, stops James on the top. And Charlotte, at my request, because I've been asking for it, finally broke out the Spanish Fly. Charlotte's got a very good Spanish Fly. And I got to give her credit. She's actually fixed the moonsault too, which is good. Not only are we doing the moonsault better and doing it in the ring instead of doing it outside, because outside it looked terrible, now she's doing it in the ring, and she added the Spanish Fly. Good stuff. Now, this is where it got a little dicey. Because after the Spanish Fly, the referee counted 1, 2, and I thought this was over. Kiana, and they showed the replay, which I don't know why they did. Kiana did not get her shoulder up. She did not. The referee stopped his count 100% because that's not the end of the match. And Charlotte was not the scheduled winner here. But man, Kiana, I don't know if it was a lapse of judgment or she just forgot. Maybe she was knocked a little silly off the Spanish Fly. The referee stopped his count, and Kiana, after a 3 should have realistically been made, just absolutely weakly gets her shoulder up. She flails her arm up off the mat. And I'm like, man, that's kind of a shame because that was a nice spot. So that was basically a 3 count. It was a 2.99. Charlotte tried to run the ropes. Jax pulled her out of the ring and threw her into the ring post. Nia put Flair back into the ring. She was hit with a boot by Kiana. Nia attempted a running charge, but ended up running right into the steel steps. Back in the ring, Flair had Jax in the figure 4, which was never applied. Nia Jax was never in the figure 4, but Charlotte tried to transition into the figure 8. I don't know how impactful the figure 8's going to be if the figure 4 is not applied. The move was never applied. Flair arched into the figure 8. Kiana James slid in at the last second and got the pin on Charlotte Flair, which was actually a very creative ending here. Kiana actually was very sly in the way she pinned Charlotte. Nicely done at the end there. She was not able to kick out, and Kiana James got the 1, 2, 3. Now, the match was a little sloppy at times with Kiana not getting her shoulder up and Nia just being sloppy herself, and Charlotte not getting the figure 8 applied correctly on Nia Jax. Minus the sloppiness here and there, I thought this was actually pretty enjoyable because I think Charlotte and Kiana held the match together when they were in there themselves. I don't think Nia Jax really added anything to the match. And we asked WWE for a little bit of unpredictability. I think everybody expected Charlotte Flair to win this match, and I got to give WWE credit. I didn't expect Kiana James to win this. So I'm looking at this as a positive. Now, you guys may not be looking at it as a positive because that doesn't really bode well for the winner of the Elimination Chamber, whether you like Tiffany Stratton or Rhea Ripley. Because those are the only two that I really see winning the Elimination Chamber. Kiana James is a up-and-coming new talent on the roster. The future, WWE needs to focus on that, the future. Kiana James fits into that category. Same thing with the men. Femi, Braun Breaker, Javon Evans. We got to start building for the future. Jacob Fatu. So Kiana James fits into that. So we got Kiana in the Elimination Chamber. And I think that's very good because WWE's giving you, hey, this is who we have tasked with leading this division at some point in the future. I have no problem with that. Now, Charlotte's not in. We all expected Charlotte and Jade because Bianca Belair has finger surgery and she's not going to be factored into the title program. So now we're looking at an Elimination Chamber that's a little bit more narrow than it was before this match. Charlotte's not in. Io is not qualified yet. Maybe she will qualify on Monday. Maybe not. I have no idea. But Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton are number 1 and 2 odds-on favorites to win this. Does anybody want Tiffany Stratton to win the Elimination Chamber? I certainly fucking don't. But if you look at the current trajectory of the WWE right now, if Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are still the tag team champions, which is very likely going into WrestleMania, I'm assuming they will be defending it in a multi-woman affair, multi-person match at WrestleMania. Because there's a lot of teams that are vying for those titles. But then on the flip side, you got Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. We saw this match twice. I don't think anybody wants to see it again because, let's be real, it wasn't good the first 2 times we saw it. And I don't really want to see it again because it's more of the same old shit. And it's not going to be any better for WrestleMania. And we deserve better this year for WrestleMania after what we got last year. Tiffany Stratton is not my choice to win this. I think that's a horrible choice. But again, what do you do with Tiffany Stratton going into WrestleMania if she's not in the title program? You don't want to leave her off the card, do you? She hasn't really been in anything important. She's taken most of the second half of the year off. She comes back at the Royal Rumble, comes in at the Rumble at number 30, and she's factored into the world title program without actually doing much of anything. Does she need to be on the WrestleMania card? No, she don't. Save her for programs after WrestleMania. Doesn't mean you can't use her now. But all because she's in the chamber doesn't mean she's got to be factored into WrestleMania. Yes, she's a big name, but she's not in the midst of anything going on right now. She's not. She took 3 or 4 months off and then wants to come back. You can't put her right back into things while she was away. Things are just playing out as she's away. So if she misses WrestleMania, you're not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. In fact, I think more people are going to complain if it's Tiffany and Jade than if Tiffany's not on the WrestleMania card. Which brings us to Rhea Ripley. Jade Cargill and Liv Morgan is still an opportunity, is still a possibility at WrestleMania. It would be weird for WWE to play out the angle with Liv Morgan and Stephanie in the Judgment Day for weeks at a time to not do Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer, which I do think will play into where the title goes after WrestleMania because Raquel Rodriguez is going to be hanging around and tension between the Judgment Day is going to grow and Roxanne Perez could very well win Money in the Bank in August, which would then set up a whole new slew of problems with Roxanne and Liv Morgan. I like that aspect. That's a good possibility. That's a good future for the women's division on Monday night. But Liv and Jade is still a possibility. Rhea winning the chamber, wrestling Stephanie Vaquer is still a possibility because that was the original fan-desired match. Where do I think they go? All I know is that Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are going to have to lose the tag team championships. We may be looking, because this is now a second time. We saw this last week, and we're getting it again next week. We may be getting Lash Legend and Nia Jax as the new women's tag team champions. Genuinely. Now, I don't give a fuck about the tag team titles, But I would rather them be on Lash Legend and Nia Jax than Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, because I believe Rhea Ripley and Io Sky deserve a lot better than the tag team champions and tag team championship at WrestleMania. So I think Rhea Ripley's going to win the Elimination Chamber. I think we're going to get Rhea and Jade, and I think that they're going to go back to Rhea Ripley being the women's champion. I think. Now, I don't know what that means for Io. I don't. Io's going to be on Raw. And if Rhea wins the championship, she's going to be on SmackDown. It's difficult for WWE to have Rhea and Io exist on the same show because Io has put herself in a position to be just as good, if not better, than Rhea. So what are you going to do? I genuinely think at this point, WWE has reached their limit with both of these women on the same roster, and I think it's becoming creatively more difficult for WWE to book both of these women on the same show when they're both equals to each other. Because if Rhea's champion, Io can't be champion, and what is Io going to do? Io's a world championship performer. So maybe they're thinking, let's get Rhea over to SmackDown, keep Io on her show, and build both of them up as the top stars for their shows and get them away from each other. Which I don't know why we didn't just go Rhea and Io at WrestleMania, because the story was right there. Have them lose the tag team championships, focus on that. Rhea and Io got nothing to do. They basically are left with nothing but each other. Rhea says, you know what? I know what we can do. Let's wrestle each other. I haven't beaten you. It's been a goal of mine. Let's do it. Then you get Liv and Stephanie, and then whatever you want to do with Jade at this point. Jade versus Bliss for the World Championship. Maybe Alexa wins the fucking the chamber. I have no idea. Maybe we get Bliss and Jade, and then Charlotte not at WrestleMania turns heel. Who knows? Listen, multiple different ways, multiple different roads here. You know, we still don't have a direction. Is it unpredictable? A little bit. A little bit. But WWE's got some options here. But you can see how not having Bianca has driven WWE basically to the week before the chamber, and we still don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't think Rhea Ripley was tasked with winning the Elimination Chamber. If Bianca Belair was healthy and ready to go on television, I think we'd be looking at Bianca and Jade. And then I think Rhea would be looking at Stephanie. Those are the matches I genuinely think WWE was planning to do going into WrestleMania. But things change, injuries happen. I don't know. We'll figure it out come Monday when Liv is supposed to make her decision on who she's challenging. I think that will open up a little bit more on what's going to happen on Friday Night SmackDown with the World Championship and Jade Cargill. Royce Keys. He wasn't on the show. He hasn't been on WWE TV since we saw him debut in the Royal Rumble. But Royce Keys was recently a guest on the Stephanie McMahon podcast, What's Your Story? And believe it or not, Royce Keys opened up on who he is in an hour and a half. More than 6 years he's been on AEW television. You know, this is what I talk about, and this is what I mean when I say, when you give people a reason to care about somebody, pro wrestling fans care. All they want to do is be invested in the characters that we see on television. Now, Powerhouse Hobbs was a big dude. He was a powerhouse, no pun intended. He was in the Ops. He was a Trios champion. He was a TNT champion. But who was he? Who was he? I don't think AEW even gave him an opportunity to tell us who he was. He was just a big guy who was muscle for QT Marshall. He was muscle for Team Taz. He was muscle for the Ops and Samoa Joe. And that's all he ended up being. But who is he? Everybody has a backstory. Everybody has their own story to tell. Everybody is different. Stephanie McMahon brought out a side of Royce Keys, Powerhouse Hobbs, that 6 years of AEW never allowed him to do. So now when you see Royce Keys on television, if you listen to this podcast and if you listen to this interview, now you know who Royce Keys is. Now you can make a determination on, man, I like this guy. I'm going to invest my time in him. I love his story. I think that's great. Or not. Now it's up to you, instead of you going in blind and getting another guy on television that nobody knows anything about. Obafemi. Speaking of something we don't know anything about, I don't know what the fuck they're doing with Obafemi. And supposedly, things could have changed between now and then, but I could have swore Brock Lesnar was advertised for Monday Night Raw in Atlanta. Can someone confirm that for me in the chat? Is Brock Lesnar confirmed for Monday Night Raw? Because if he is, if WWE's got Lesnar on Raw, either one of two things is going to happen. One, he's going to be in the chamber and he's going to steal someone's spot, which I don't think is going to be the case because I think the last spot is going to be determined on Monday. Or two, Obafemi's been balancing a Raw and SmackDown contract. He's had run-ins with Kit Wilson. He's had run-ins with Rusev. He's had run-ins with The Miz. He's had run-ins with this one and that one. The one run-in is going to be Brock Lesnar. And I think Lesnar is going to be the one guy that gets him to sign that Monday Night Raw contract. And I think Lesnar's going to do or say something that pushes Obafemi to say, you know what? I know what show I want to be on, and I know what I'm coming to do. And that is slay the beast. WWE is having a very difficult time selling tickets for WrestleMania. Now, minus the fucking ticket prices and the fact that they're running Vegas again for a second year in a row, and tourism is down, and this is down, and WWE's canceling watch-alongs at different establishments with a 50-mile radius of Allegiant Stadium. Whatever you want to go out there and read. All WWE needs to do, if they want to generate interest for this show, is book the best fucking card possible without insulting the fans' intelligence. And the way you do that is you give me Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi at WrestleMania. You don't give me Obafemi not making the WrestleMania card. You don't give me the rumored Brock Lesnar versus LA Knight match. Nobody wants that. Nobody asks for that. Lesnar, Femi. WrestleMania. You want to build the future? There you go. There is no greater statement for Obafemi within a 2-month debut on the main roster than beating Brock Lesnar. Let's do it. They got him fucking around with Kit Wilson and these fucking poems. What are we doing? People were making a big deal that he was on Main Event wrestling one of the Garzas, I think he was wrestling. Obafemi on Main Event. Now, I'm not looking at that as a big deal, but because we all know he's going to be a big deal. I don't think WWE's going to task him with wrestling Main Event and leave him there. Get some reps in front of a live audience. That's great. But Lesnar and Femi, I mean, if that is not the direction going into Mania, if you want to claim to me and everybody else that Paul Levesque is failing as head of creative, I mean, go at it. Go at it. There's no waiting here. There's 2 months. Obafemi made his debut at the Royal Rumble. This is more than enough time to get a sense of who Obafemi is, get a sense of what he does and how he operates and how the fans are going to react. They're already reacting to him. You put him in the ring with Lesnar, it's an instant star-making match. Triple H has this thing where he puts something in the oven and he leaves it there on like 125. Bro, put it in the oven and turn that motherfucker up. Okay? Stop waiting. You want to make Mania the best it could be? Obafemi and Brock Lesnar is the way to go. This is not it. Though I enjoyed Kit Wilson getting embarrassed and him being forced to read poems, you know, I know a thing or two about poems. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, you know? Little dice. But Kit Wilson with his fucking poems. We got this match. Wilson rolled out of the ring. The bell rang, so the match was underway. Took a microphone. He addressed Obafemi, and he wanted to read a poem as he felt that his opponent grew the last time they met. This poem was entitled An Ode to Oba. And it was about how Wilson supposedly saw the greatness in Femi. He said that when he looked in Femi's eyes, he saw a teddy bear. I don't think we look at Femi and see a teddy bear, okay? So fans are chanting Oba. He said he thought Oba was a brute. He sees a little teddy bear. Oba smiled. He took the mic and said, well, that was quite nice. He told him, read another. Oba was very sincere. He's like, read another. Read another poem. So Kit looked worried because he only had prepared one poem, and he didn't want to read the toxic poems that he had written about Oba before. So he tried to come into this buttering him up. So Oba saw right through that, and he knew that he wrote more toxic promos about, or poems about Oba. So Oba insisted. Wilson opened his book. He said, well, it's going to be old material. 9 things I hate about men. He thinks men think they're never wrong, and that's toxic. And how they act with no shame or regrets, and always comparing their sizes, and that's toxic. And how they strut like a self-made king. Wilson said, should I continue? Oba's like, finish. Wilson says he hates his brand of masculinity and said he hates the ruler, Oba's toxicity. Oba yanked him into the ring. He threw him around. He chopped his chest. Big running uppercuts in the corner, back and forth. Landed, fall from grace, the sit-out powerbomb. 1, 2, 3, and goodbye, Kit Wilson. Goodbye, Kit Wilson. This was probably the most entertaining Kit Wilson and Femi segment that we got, and I think it needs to be the last. You can have your fun, but we need to start building Oba's WrestleMania match, and there's absolutely no reason why it should not be against Brock Lesnar. Nick Aldis. The fucking crate, the mystery crate, was backstage. He asked the guy, a geek, if he knew what this crate was and who was in it, what was in it. R-Truth walked in and said, it's a huge award for him. Aldis told the guy to send it back to Raw and let Adam Pearce deal with it. Priest walked up to Aldis. Aldis asked if he was ready for his big match against Trick and Carmelo. Truth and Priest both said yes. Aldis said Priest is in the qualifier, not you, Truth. Truth was a little bummed out. He said he must have got his balls mixed up and said he liked him better when he was bald. So R-Truth is still talking about his UK balls, and now he's mistaking Nick Aldis for Adam Pearce. You know, once upon a time, we got R-Truth as Ron Killings, and everybody lobbied for him to get his job back, only to have a serious character played on television, only for them to put him back in the same campy comedy routine that he was doing for the last 15 years. Tiffany Stratton. She went one-on-one with Alba Fire. This was nothing more than filler. Tiffany Stratton wins here in 10 minutes. Absolutely no reason other than making Tiffany look strong going into the chamber. Nobody really stood out here. None of this really mattered. Stratton wins in 10 minutes. Prettiest moonsault ever. And that was it for Tiffany Stratton. Nothing more needs to be said. This is where things got good, at least for this backstage segment. This was the best thing on the show. Cody Rhodes. He's walking backstage, and he sees Sami Zayn standing next to a crate, looking all bummed out and dejected. Cody told Sami he's got nothing to be ashamed of. Sami said, if anyone should be ashamed here, it's you, Cody. He started to get angry. He held a lot of resentment in for the last 7 days. Now, if you go back to the match, Cody took advantage of Sami Zayn trying to do the right thing by not capitalizing on what Drew McIntyre tried to do. Sami should have won. Sami looked like a geek. He instead delivered a haluva kick to Drew McIntyre and didn't take advantage of Drew McIntyre laying Cody Rhodes out with a Claymore. Cody was taken aback by this because Sami said he should be ashamed. Sami said he tried to help him, and then he paid him back with a crossroads and punched his ticket to the chamber. You put a knife in my back, Cody. Cody said that is your perspective, Sami. He said he took advantage of an opportunity, and you have to take advantage of them when they come. They don't just randomly fall into your lap every week. And that's why you haven't become WWE champion. There it is. That was real easy for the golden boy to say, right? Your QB1. He said everything comes up aces for him. He said Cody was the chosen one. No one chose me, Sami said. He says he's been trying to finish his story for the last 10 years. He says he doesn't know what it's like to do the right thing and have it blow up in his face. He asks where he was when he was in Germany and he did the right thing and it cost him everything. Cody's trying to tell Sami that he tried to do the right thing in 3 stages of hell and it cost him the WWE Championship. It's not me. It's not the system. The only thing in your way, Sami, is you. Cody walks away. Sami, there's bottles and equipment on top of this crate. He throws everything off the crate in anger. Trick Williams walks in. He gets a huge reaction from the crowd. He said, with friends like Cody, you certainly don't need any enemies. He told Sami tonight he's going to do something Sami cannot, which is get the job done. Sami ran over to Cody after Trick said that one line to him. He tracked Cody down again, and he apologized to Cody Rhodes. Sami said he was right about everything he said to him. Sami said everyone knows he'll be champion again, meaning Cody will be champion again. It's a foregone conclusion. But when it happens, Cody, remember that you had a little bit of help along the way. Cody Rhodes left him with this. Sami, I don't forget. This certainly, I know a lot of people don't like the narrative of Sami winning the WWE Championship or being the World's Heavyweight Champion because it's been played out. WWE's kind of waited on it, and they had a prime, ample opportunity with him and Roman as the honorary Uso, betraying the family, stabbing Roman in the back, and kind of going into business for his own and choosing Kevin Owens a couple years ago. They wrestled in Montreal at the Chamber. Great environment, great match. That was the moment. There was no greater moment for Sami outside that. I don't know where they go, but I felt like last night was the start of WWE telling Sami Zayn's story. Now, it also could serve as a Sami Zayn heel turn. I don't think they're going to go and do that. But Cody eventually is going to win the championship back. Sami is going to continue his quest for a world championship. What they do in the time being, I don't know. What they do with Sami from this point on going into next year's Mania, which I think everybody's looking at as maybe the time Sami will finish his story. Sami in Saudi Arabia as WrestleMania 43 takes place in Saudi Arabia. Predictable, yes. WWE Triple H loves a great moment. Could be. Could make headlines everywhere. But I thought last night this was a fantastic segment. Like, you're not going to find two guys better when emotions need to boil over. You're not going to find two guys better to cut a promo that really kind of punches you in the heart and gives you the feels, like Sami and Cody. This is where Cody operates at his best. Something like this. And Sami's always been great. Sami comes off as always genuine, and he never stutters in anything he says. You believe Sami when he speaks. I love this segment. I thought this was a great foreshadowing of what's to come. Cody says he never forgets. So if Cody's the champion, could we be looking at a Cody Rhodes versus Sami Zayn match? Could Cody be the one who offers Sami a shot at the title? Could Sami finish his story against the guy who himself finished his own story at WrestleMania 40? We could be looking at that. We could. Maybe it's Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania next year. And maybe we get Rock and Roman if the money is right for Dwayne to come back. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Damian Priest, Carmelo Hayes, and Trick Williams, the Elimination Chamber qualifying match. This was fun. Match was all right. I expected Trick Williams to win this. I did not expect Damian Priest to get another pinfall here. Well, maybe I should have expected it. I was hoping for Carmelo Hayes to take the pinfall because foolishly and selfishly, I'd like Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes for the United States Championship at WrestleMania, and I thought with Trick pinning Carmelo, that would serve as the catalyst to maybe get there when the time calls for it. I was just thinking out loud last week, but Damian Priest in another match, and Damian Priest another loser. We'll pick it up after the commercial break here. We got some nice interactions here between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. They had a nice little program on NXT. So they have a lot of history with each other. Williams and Priest traded strikes. Just in time for Hayes to come in with a double springboard leg drop on both Trick Williams and Damian. Outside the ring, Hayes hit Williams with a shotgun dropkick into the timekeeper's barricade before he connected with the frog splash in the ring on Damian Priest for a near fall. Priest rolled out of the ring. He tried to recover. Hayes was looking for a dive. Williams would have stopped to that with a spinning kick to Carmelo. Uranagi by Trick Williams on Hayes. Only got a 2 count in the process. Williams starts trash-talking Carmelo. He was met with some hard chops by Mello. Hayes then attempted a springboard, but he was clotheslined out of the ring by Trick. Priest pounces Hayes, sends him onto the announce desk. Priest left the ring, got thrown into the announce table. Williams connected on a spinning kick on Carmelo, which looked great. He also hit the same thing on Phoenix last week, which looked great. Near fall. Only a 2 count. Williams put Hayes on the top rope. He looked like he was going to the superplex. Priest got back up. He intercepted with a razor's edge on Trick Williams. Only a 2 count. Hayes is on the top rope. He hit nothing but net on Damian Priest. Williams broke the count up, and all 3 men were down. Nearing the end here and the final segment, Williams and Hayes traded blows until Priest hits kicks on both guys. Williams and Hayes, they have this little mini alliance, and they work together on Damian Priest with the double team. Priest now out. Hayes and Williams going at it. They're outside the ring. Hayes connected with a first 48 on Williams on the top rope. Hayes dives. Top rope dive intercepted with a hard elbow from Priest. Razor's edge attempted by Priest, but Williams blasted him with the trick shot knee. That sent Hayes crashing out of the ring, and he delivered another trick shot, did Trick, on Priest. The trick shot knees did not look good on Damian Priest here. Now, I don't know if it's because Damian Priest is just as high, or just as tall, rather, as Trick Williams, but they didn't connect the way that they usually do. So he tried 2, he connected 2, the second one knocked him out, the second one got him the win. 1, 2, 3, and Trick Williams advances to the Elimination Chamber. So we got Trick Williams, Javon Evans, Cody Rhodes, LA Knight, and Randy Orton in the men's Elimination Chamber. Trick Williams is there to get the rub from everybody else. Javon Evans is in there as the guy on Monday night that they got a lot of high hopes for. Also getting the rub from everybody else. And plus, in the chamber, he's going to do some cool shit. But it's going to come down to Cody and Randy. I know you LA Knight fans are hoping for a victory. No, LA Knight's not winning the Elimination Chamber. He's only in there to add another over babyface that is never going to get the job done. SmackDown Tag Team Division, acting like a bunch of geeks, backstage. The Mystery Crate. Candice LeRae walked in with Nick Aldis and the rest of the tag team division standing around, and all of a sudden we look up and Johnny Gargano is laying face first down on top of the mystery crate. Jordynne Grace appeared out of nowhere, and LeRae was upset that Jordynne Grace interrupted her meeting with Nick Aldis. Now, this isn't the right setting for a meeting, but she wanted Nick Aldis to do something about Johnny Gargano. LeRae and Grace get into it, and they start bickering. Aldis books a match next week for SmackDown. Jordynne Grace versus Candice LeRae. And Nick Aldis said, and I quote, "It looks like Johnny Gargano wasn't feeling too great." You get it? He wasn't looking too great. Yeah, that's lame comedy by WWE. Jade Cargill was seen backstage. B-Fab and Michin, who returned. Oh, joy. She got her kendo stick and all. She called her shot against Jade again for the Women's Championship. I will remind you guys when to bring the pillow for when this match is announced. Rhea Ripley. She went one-on-one with Julia. Now, this was originally meant to be Julia and Io Sky. I don't know why it was changed last minute, but I'm going to assume that WWE did not want to give away Julia and Io for basically nothing with no meaning. So they opted Rhea and Julia, which was very good. This was one of the more enjoyable matches on the show tonight. We'll pick it up after the commercial break here. There was a spot in this match. I don't know if you guys saw it. I know I saw it after the Hog Show last night. I was on social media. There was a spot in this match where Julia had Rhea face first, and she picks Rhea Ripley up by her arms, and she stomps down on Rhea. My God, I would be shocked if Rhea wasn't hearing bells in her ears after that fucking spot. That's an easy way to get someone concussed. But everybody wants Julia to go back to being strong-style Julia. I don't see a problem with it, but my God, did that look fucking awful. Holy shit. So we'll pick it up after the break here. Julia had the upper hand on Rhea. Arrivederci knee was blocked by Ripley. Cracked Julia with a hard lariat. Both women got themselves back up. Ripley dodged a offensive onslaught from Julia, blasted her with a clothesline, followed by a standing slam and a running dropkick. Ripley tried to go up top. Julia intercepted at the time. Ripley escaped, got her with a cheeky Nando's kick. Faceplant slam by Rhea Ripley on Julia for a 2 count. Ripley again tried for the riptide. Julia countered and connected with an arrivederci, only a 2 count off the knee. Julia got ahead of it, tried for the Northern Lights bomb. Ripley countered, hit a headbutt. Just that she had riptide on Julia. Nia Jax interrupted with Lash Legend, and we got a disqualification. Rhea Ripley beats Julia by DQ. So at least they saved Julia, who's the United States champion, from taking a pinfall loss. I appreciate that. But WWE also needs to sell some aspect of this women's tag team title match next week with Nia Jax and Lash Legend challenging Rhea Ripley and Io Sky for the tag team titles. After the match, Jax and Legend laid out Rhea Ripley until Io ran out to make the save. Even the odds only build up for the match next week. That's all that was. But Rhea Ripley and Julia, man, you know, I got to give WWE a little bit of credit. Julia looks a ton better than she did last year. Now, the United States Championship isn't even a focus. She hasn't done anything with the United States Championship. But Julia, I said this weeks ago, you put her in the ring against people that the fans care about, and Julia will, like a sponge, suck that up. Julia will benefit from that. Julia's been in the ring with Zelina and Chelsea and Michin and these fucking women nobody cares about. You put her in the ring with Io and Rhea and anybody else of that status, it will be fine for Julia. I don't know why they didn't figure this out months ago. Now you start to slowly see Julia coming along. She's wrestling like Julia should be wrestling. She feels a little bit more like a bigger deal now. I don't know what we're doing. Hopefully they continue the momentum because I think Julia, we're not there yet, and the United States Championship is still largely irrelevant, but at least Julia feels a little bit better than she did during her first United States title run, which was fucking awful. Awful. The Miz. He was backstage with Femi, and he tried to offer his services as the self-appointed locker room leader to Femi. This led to Femi indiscreetly challenging him to a match and taking his advice next week. Miz didn't really get it when Oba said it, but Oba said, I'm going to go talk to Nick Aldis about that. And then it slowly dawned upon Miz that after Femi left to talk to Nick Aldis that he was not going to take his advice on meeting and taking advice and learning from the Miz, but it was more so an in-ring contest next week. But we're running Femi through all the jobbers on Friday night, huh? I can only hope this results in something a little bit more important over the next 2 months. Charlotte Flair chatted with Miss Bliss, and she said that she's fine after losing her Elimination Chamber match. Kiana James showed up, talked trash. This led to Flair and Bliss challenging James and Julia to prove their worth. I don't know where we're going, but if Charlotte is not at WrestleMania and Bliss doesn't win the Chamber, we could be looking at a multi-tag team affair at WrestleMania. Maybe a gauntlet match, maybe a big conglomeration, four-way tag team match, same to what we got at Evolution last year in July. Get 4 teams in that: Bella's, Bliss and Charlotte, Kiana and Julia, and then Nia and Lash Legend. Because if Charlotte's not at WrestleMania and she's not in the Chamber, then I don't think Alexa should be there either. I think Bliss should also lose, and I'm not really factoring her into winning. I think the story is her and Charlotte and eventually one of them turning on the other. I think they're focusing on the tag team titles. You want them at Mania together. You don't want to leave one off the Mania card and then not include the other, which, again, depending on Io winning her match on Monday, which I think she will, I think Rhea and Tiffany serve as the 2 odds-on favorites in the Women's Chamber. The only match that we got, or the only matches, I should say, booked for next week's SmackDown, not really exciting. We got Rhea and Io against Nia Jax and Lash Legend, and Uncle Howdy against Solo Sikoa. Solo discussed a strategy with the MFTs in the locker room before talking to Tama Tonga one-on-one. He thanked him for his focus on taking out the Wyatt Six. He thanked him for being a loyal soldier and helping him and not turning on him. The lantern is very important to the MFTs. We have to keep it away from the Wyatt Six at all costs. Tama Tonga looked like, all right, guy, it's a fucking lantern that you could probably buy at Home Depot for a good $50. In walks Shinsuke Nakamura. And he said that Tama Tonga was being held back by Solo and his MFTs. Nakamura said that Tama Tonga can prove that he is his own man by facing him next time one-on-one. Without the help of the MFTs, leave your family tree in the forest, Nakamura said to Tama Tonga. Main event. Randy Orton, Aleister Black, Drew McIntyre played a factor into the outcome of this match. Now, the fact that we got this match in the main event, this means I want to see it even less happen at WrestleMania. And I don't think we are going to see it at WrestleMania. So we got our ring introductions. We'll pick it up after the commercial break here. Decent match. Nothing special. Your prototypical standard main event for Friday Night SmackDown. Orton targeted Black with his stomps. Zelina got on the apron to serve as a distraction. This allowed Black to respond with a knee to the back of Randy Orton. Black hit Orton with a running kick across the apron, threw him into the ring post. Back in the ring we go. Black smashed Orton with a running knee strike for a near fall. Black applied a rest hold on Orton and tried to maintain the pressure of the hold. Orton got himself to his feet. He fought out of the hold. Suplex attempt by Orton, blocked by Black, who once again blasted Orton with a knee to the face. This time he goes for recovery and gets a 2 count on Randy Orton. Black again had Orton in a rest hold with the arm wrapped around Orton's face. So there was a lot of rest holds here. And I don't know if that is what you want to see in the main event, where everything is just slowed down to a snail's crawl. But Orton battled back with a big uppercut. He sent Black onto the apron. Orton had Black in position for his draping DDT, but Black escaped. Black came right back with a boot to the face, followed by a shoulder to the chest of Orton. Black had Orton in another rest hold. Got countered into a back suplex. Orton got himself up. Clotheslines, scoop power slam, draping DDT, signature Orton. Orton zoned in on Black. He had him right in position for the RKO. Black escaped it, rolled out of the ring. So Black follows with a strong kick and nailed Orton in the face. Orton tried for the back suplex across the announce desk, but Black blocked it. However, at this point, Orton managed to block another kick from Black, slammed him across the commentary table. Eventually, Black out cold. Orton dropped him with a draping DDT from the announce desk on the floor outside. It was at this point that Orton rolled Black into the ring for a final RKO, and that's when Drew McIntyre smashed Orton in the face with the WWE title. The referee didn't see it. Cody Rhodes gave chase to McIntyre, who, was, he told Nick Aldis, did McIntyre, that he was leaving the building. So when Cody seen this, he was possessed to go chase McIntyre out of the building. In the ring, Black hit a very weak-looking Black Mass. Got enough for the win, though. He pinned Randy Orton 1-2-3 off his finish. And that was it. That was the way SmackDown came to a close. Randy Orton suffers a loss from Aleister Black in the main event thanks to Drew McIntyre. And if you go back and listen to what I laid out in detail for you in the beginning of this stream, in the beginning of this podcast, Randy Orton lost because of Drew McIntyre. The consequences of Drew McIntyre's actions are accumulating week by week. Randy Orton's going into the chamber. Randy Orton's going to factor into winning the chamber because McIntyre's going to find his way into the chamber and take out Cody Rhodes. And he is going to cost Cody Rhodes the match. I could see it coming down to Orton and Cody. I could see the door remaining open when we get those final two competitors in the ring. In comes Drew. Claymore. Chaos ensues. Instead of what Sami did, Orton's going to take advantage of it and use McIntyre to his advantage because that is what Cody told Sami. And if you don't think Randy's going to do that, then you are a fool. Randy's going to win the chamber. Cody's going to find himself not with the WrestleMania main event, but it's going to be Randy and Drew on paper for WrestleMania night one, because Punk and Roman are main eventing night two. Randy and Drew, night one. Cody and Fatu get added. Fatal 4-way happening at WrestleMania. Book it. If there's not a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania night one, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. Randy Orton's not wrestling Gunther. It's not going to be career killer versus legend killer. Gunther, I am pretty confident, is going to be wrestling Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania if he could remain healthy after what we see him do to Dragon Lee on Monday. I think that will be a little bit more clear in the direction of Gunther for WrestleMania. Also, AJ Styles is on Monday Night Raw. We don't know how that's going to factor into anything. Will they use that as an angle to push an angle? We don't know. But Orton, Fatal 4-Way, book it for the WWE title night one of WrestleMania. SmackDown was okay. It was okay. It wasn't something that I would urge you guys to go and watch. The only reason why I watch is because I do what I do here for you guys. But outside the Sami Cody stuff backstage, outside the Drew McIntyre interference on Randy Orton, Aleister Black, and outside Charlotte not advancing, there wasn't really much of anything else to talk about on SmackDown. But I thank you guys for joining me here on this happy hour, Saturday afternoon, man. We had close to 1,800 people here on a Saturday, man. Appreciate that. You guys are great. Thank you for the love and support. We're going to get into your super chats right now. If you guys want to get them on in, I would urge you to do so because that's the best way to support the show. So go ahead and do that. Hit that thumbs up. Let's try. We got 708 likes. Let's try for 800 likes. 800 likes. Modest goal. I know you guys can do it. I know there are some people hanging around here who haven't hit the thumbs up. Helps me out tremendously, so please do so. Also, leave a comment down below. That also helps us out. We love being in the YouTube algorithm. And if you guys are on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you are consuming the audio portion of this podcast, leave a rating. Also, leave a comment. And we've been kicking ass on the podcast chart. So I'd love to see that continue to grow this year. That's definitely one of my priorities. That's also going to help us grow as well. So if you guys want to have a hand in that, please help us out where you can. Tonight, we are sponsored by Blue Chew. Man, that Cody and Sami segment last night, huh? Great segment. It was also very uncomfortable to see Sami Zayn feel so weak. Sami telling Cody he put a knife in his back. Cody saying, that's your perspective, Sami. Talking about taking advantage of opportunities. Fans going, oh, when Cody said that's why Sami hasn't become WWE champion. And then the Golden Boy line, QB1, everything comes up aces for Cody. Fellas, let's be honest. Nobody wants to be in a situation where someone says, the only thing in your way is you. That hits a little different, huh? Which is why I'm glad we're sponsored tonight by Blue Chew Gold. Because when an opportunity presents itself, you don't want to hesitate. You don't want to overthink it. You don't want to be the guy saying, man, if I just had one more shot. That's awful. Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation from the #1 chewable ED brand. It's a 4-in-1 powerhouse designed to help you feel confident and ready when the moment hits. Cody said you have to take advantage of opportunities when they come. Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue and can work in as little as 15 minutes. That's not wait 10 years to finish your story energy like Sami Zayn. That's bell rings, let's go energy. You don't want a crossroads out of nowhere. You don't want to be swatting water bottles in frustration. You want to show up prepared, calm, focused, locked in. Golden Boy confidence, not trying to figure it out backstage confidence. Because this isn't about blaming the system. It's not about blaming someone else. It's about making sure the only thing in your way is not you. This is peak passion, peak performance, no apology tour necessary. And remember, this isn't just about performance. It's about legacy, or what I like to say is your third leg, Special deal for our listeners tonight. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with code JD. That's promo code JD at BlueChew.com. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And I want to thank them for sponsoring the podcast right here on the SmackDown review on Off the Script. Super Chats, let's get into them. We're going to start off with the one and only, because I know he's number one. He's always number one. Michael Krause with a $2 Super Chat. JD, congrats on House of Glory last night. OTS, let's go. Yeah. Michael, appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. Justin Taylor, $15 Super Chat. JD, Mini Portable called you a piece of shit about an hour ago. She's just upset that her and Weezy don't have the money, the house, the viewership, and the respect in the IWC like you do. You know, Joseph, I saw the tweet, but in the same tweet, she actually said I wasn't a bad commentator. I take the good with the bad. But at the end of the day, she's clueless, and she doesn't know what went into what got me back. And if they did, their narrative of everybody hates JD in pro wrestling would be shot dead on sight. Only if you guys knew, man. Only if you guys knew. Michelle with the $2 Super Chat. Would Cody, Randy, Drew, Fatu be good enough for WrestleMania? Yes. Yes, it would. That Cody and Randy dynamic. That's what I'm looking for. Fast Eddie with a $4.99. JD, why did they change Io Sky versus Julia to Rhea Ripley versus Julia? Are they allergic to that match? No, because I genuinely think they find something special there and they don't want to give it away too soon. Fast Eddie also with a $4.99. Charlotte, Jade, WrestleMania, Naomi comes out, interferes. Charlotte wins the championship. Naomi gets it back for Charlotte at SummerSlam. No. No. And also for Eddie, Fast Eddie with a $4.99. For Eddie. $4.99 from Fast Eddie. JD, I saw House to Go last night. That chant was epic when you were out there. My guy David Rice with a $19.99 super chat. So happy to see you back on House to Glory. Middle finger to the haters. I will be at Collision tonight. Less than 10 minutes from my house. I think my first YouTube video will be about my AW live experience. Brother, I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. If you can film as much as you can on your phone, I think that would go a long way. Just from me to you. Film some. You getting there, you where you're sitting in the venue, film some matches, put some commentary over it, give your thoughts about what you're watching with some voiceovers. I think that would go off very well, man. That's a good idea. I like that. Simply the Pope with a 46 months. Happy 46 months. What the fuck is everyone drinking? I don't know, but I'll be having an espresso martini in about an hour. Michael Krause with a 2. JD loves snow. LOL. I hate it. I fucking hate it. World of Wrestling 6186 with a $5 super chat. Bro, you should see about becoming a heel commentator based on how that crowd booed you last night at House of Glory. I believe you would play a great heel. Bro, I'm thinking maybe I manage someone and become a heel manager. I'd much rather be behind the desk, though. And I don't play heel commentator. I just love calling pro wrestling because that's my passion. I don't like being a part of the show. I very much like residing in the shadows. Bid Moon with a $4.99. JD is the goats of goats. Am I? It's quite the statement there, Bid Moon. Thank you. Dorian Moore with a $2 super chat. Cena says he was supposed to beat Reigns in 2021. I am tired of hearing about what John Cena should and should not have done. It's over. He said people are going to forget about him 2 months after he retires. Let's start pushing that, huh? It's over. It's in the past. I want to very much forget everything that happened last year. True Crime Unleashed with a $5 super chat. Eva Marie was on Chris Van Vliet. She talked about trying to get back into the business. She has opened drug and alcohol treatment centers in Florida. Very admirable. Well, good for her. That's great. That is fantastic. That doesn't mean we want to see her back on television. Chicago for MBK with a $5 super chat. Watch my first House of Glory live show start to finish after getting Triller. Glad I did. Awesome to hear you and Jason on commentary. Great Friday. Appreciate it, brother. Sidro with the $2 super chat. What does a robot do after sex? Peanuts and bolts. I like that one. Sidro with a $10 super chat. Once knew a Spaniard who never used a scale. I was shocked. No way, Jose. And what was Thanos' favorite show as a kid? Blippi. It's where he learned to snap. Heading to work, then casino, currently up 2K. Look at this motherfucker. Man, you got quite the luck at the casino, huh? I throw 20 in a fucking poker slot. I'm fucking down 20 in 10 seconds. Jimmy Fingers with a $10 super chat. I agree with you, JD. I think Charlotte has made a lot of improvements. I see more Ashley in her wrestling character and far less droid. She's made some improvements. I am actually starting to grow on Charlotte Flair. And I think when we turn whomever in this duo, I think Bliss needs to be the heel. True Crime Unleashed with the $2 super chat. Elimination Chamber watch-alongs are barred as well in Chicago. Yeah, I heard that. We'll talk about that on Tuesday. Caden with a $1.99. Thank you, Caden. JDGE9 with a $4.99. Last night's SmackDown was in Fort Lauderdale at the Florida Panthers Arena, about 30 minutes away from me, and I still wasn't interested in attending live. SmackDown is not a show that has garnered a lot of interest. There's just no one major overlapping story. There's no real reason to go. WrestleMess with a $1.99. Could you see Kiana winning the Elimination Chamber to make a new star? No. No, Kiana's not winning the Chamber. Marshall D with a $4.99. Hi, JD. Happy Saturday. Tuning into the stream while getting this workout and appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Marshall, thank you, brother. Hope you had a great workout. Lauren with a 2, 2, and a 2. We're getting a fatal four-way at Mania for the title. Would you rather turn Sami or Orton? Orton. And if Orton is written off Elimination Chamber, do you see Fatu replacing? No, Orton is not being written off. Orton is not being written off. Orton's going to win the Chamber. WrestleMess with a $1.99. Fuck the haters, OTS community, and JD for life. Thank you, WrestleMess. Fast Eddie with a $4.99. Brock Lesnar, Femi, WrestleMania, book it. Hopefully Monday Night Raw is the start of that. Much love, JD. Thank you, Fast Eddie. Maddie Boom with a $4.99. I'm a big howdy guy, but this feud is rough. At least they're not trying to force it as a main event feud like Becky and AJ. That one is cringe. Yeah, I'm not sold on the AJ Becky stuff. I think the promo work has been atrocious lately. And I've actually praised Becky's promo work lately. The last couple weeks are not good. And AJ is not good at all since coming back. WrestleMess with a $1.99. No snow here in Vegas. Just great indie wrestling. We may be in Vegas. I'll keep you guys posted on that. And M. James. We got actually one from Joseph first. Joseph with a $1.99. A fatal four-way would make the Elimination Chamber match pointless. No. Because if Orton wins, he is a benefactor of the Elimination Chamber. Cody and Fatu are a benefactor of McIntyre making critical mistakes, which Nick Aldis will correct. It makes perfect sense. And M. James with a $5 super chat. Did you know Bruce Pritchard pitched Cena's final match to be a one-match event? Genuinely wonder how he gets praised by people within the business the way that he does. Well, Bruce is a retard, and he is a cancer to the WWE that needs to be eliminated completely. And Matty Boom with a $1.99. How would you fix the Wyatt Six? I wouldn't. I'd just take them off television. They made the one mistake I didn't want them to make with the Wyatt Six, and they made them supernatural, and they gave them this gimmick, and it doesn't translate well to what they do in the ring. Not a fan. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for all of your support. You guys actually surprised the fuck out of me with this stream tonight. I didn't think we were going to get anywhere close to 1,800 people. We had just as much people today as we do on a regular Friday for this fucking shit show. It's crazy. You guys are great. Thank you for the support. Thank you guys for being in my corner, man. We got a lot of great things coming up. I'm excited for what's to come. You guys are great. Thank you for the support. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. Go and check out all the content on the channel. There's plenty of it. Next time you see me live will be on Monday nights, probably buried in 20 inches plus of snow. But we'll be live Monday night. Hopefully we have electricity. Leave a comment, thumbs up, subscribe, go check out the content, and Blue Chew Gold. BlueChew.com, code JD at checkout for 10% off. Guys, I'll see you live Monday for the go-home show of The Chamber on Monday Night Raw. See you guys later.